Welcome to the Canadian Business Quarterly podcast, where we speak with Canada's most influential industry leaders on the business and economic development issues taking place across the country. You can stay up to date with all of our content, including our publications, newsletters, and podcasts by visiting www.thecbq.ca and clicking on subscribe.
Today's guest is Ahmad Khan, Chief Financial Officer of Sodexo Canada. As a member of the Canadian and North American leadership team, he plays a key role in strategic decision-making, including Sodexo's strategic 5-year plan, along with key priorities. He also provides leadership and oversight over Canadian financial functions, including financial reporting, financial planning and analysis, tax, operational finance, risk management, and mergers and acquisitions. Sodexo has been recognized with many accolades. It is the recipient of Canada's Greenest Employer Award in 2022, Montreal's Top 100 Employees Award, Parity Certified Platinum Level, and Canada's Diversity and Inclusion Employer Award. With over 20 years' experience, 13 of which is in the food services industry, and the past 2 with Sodexo Canada, Ahmad brings expertise to grow the organization through diversification of new services, branching into new markets, and providing a service that focuses on people's needs and improves their quality of life. Ahmad, thanks for joining us today.
Oh, thanks. Thanks for having me, Jesse.
So, firstly, why don't you take us through the background of Sodexo Canada?
Yeah. So in terms of background, Sodexo has a rich history. It's a history that's deeply rooted in family values. So we actually started off as a family business in France by Pierre Bellon. Pierre's vision and values continue through his children. His daughter, Sophie Bellon, currently serves as our CEO. So since the mid-60s, Sodexo has provided catering, facilities management, employee benefits, and personal home services to about 100 million consumers daily in over 55 countries. At Sodexo, we certainly believe in the difference a day makes. Now, in terms of your specific questions about Canada, so in terms of the background specifics for Sodexo Canada, that expansion came in the form of the Calgary Olympics in 1988. So we provided food service to all the athletes, staff, and journalists. We went on actually to deliver services to many Olympic Games. So we've done it for the Barcelona as well as the London Games. And most recently, we've actually been selected to provide food service to the Paris 2024 Olympic and Paralympic Games. So in terms of numbers, that means, we'll provide about 40,000 daily meals for about 15,000 athletes for about 400 Olympic and Paralympic delegations. Today in Canada, you'll find us in schools, you'll find us in universities, you'll find us in hospitals, senior living facilities, companies, and remote camps all over this beautiful country. So, for example, like you may see us or you might run into us at a student resident dining hall at one of our Canadian universities, or you may try one of our franchises such as Starbucks or Subway at your local hospital. In terms of a roster, we have about 10,000 employees and we serve about 1 million consumers daily.
Okay. So for people like myself or others who might not be too familiar, broadly speaking, it sounds like a variety of areas related to catering. So do you want to just take us through, how these service areas play out throughout the business?
Yeah, absolutely. So in terms of the overview of the business or the services, I would say there's 2 major services we provide in Canada. So I actually wouldn't necessarily say that we just provide a service, but we're actually a solution provider. So the 2 solutions that we provide is food services, to your point. So we provide culinary excellence, really to provide that best meal experience for our guests. By doing that, we've got to develop and test recipes and reflect latest flavor trends, as well as embed more sustainable ingredients. So this expertise comes in many different services. We don't necessarily just do the traditional food court or the food hall, but we've got expertise in retail services, in brands. We've got expertise in food delivery models, as well as digital food ordering services. The other area of expertise revolves around facilities management. So actually, this actually makes a pretty significant portion of our Canadian portfolio. We provide expertise in facilities management to optimize the consumer experience, improve efficiencies and effectiveness, and increase customer satisfaction. The service ranges quite substantially. So and it really can be catered to the needs of the clients. For example, we could do building maintenance, we can do deep cleaning services, waste management, HVAC systems, pest control. So it's a fairly broad portfolio, but the solutions, in terms of the solutions, we can certainly pivot and bring a very customized and consumer-based solution.
I didn't realize it was so diversified. Okay. Um, so what is it that you think clients are expecting from you in the organization?
Well, in terms of expectations, I constantly think of the word or the term value. So we need to truly push ourselves to ensure we meet the standards around value. And when I think about value, I think about three pillars to ensure that value to our clients and to our consumers. So first and foremost is it's a relationship business. We need to have a relationship with our clients and with our consumers. The relationship requires our deep attention and commitment. We have to ensure good relationships by listening and by understanding, which takes me to, I guess, to my second point here, is listening to the needs of the clients. So that means actively listening to them, asking questions to ensure that we fully understand their concerns and their needs. And finally, focus on a customized solution based on these needs. Now, with our broad range of expertise that I just spoke about, we offer our clients the relative services and experience that fit their needs. For example, we may have a client that approach us and want to work in collaboration with us to support bringing their employees back to work. So it's important for us to have that solution to support them to bring those employees back to work.
And more broadly speaking, what is it that you think sets Sodexo apart from your competition?
Yeah, no, it's a fair question. Maybe I approach this question and talk about things that we do beyond our core business. I spoke already about our food service and our facility services and the different types of services that we provide. So first and foremost, we really put our people first. For some, it's just a student meal, but for us, it is a healthy child. For some, it might just be a few leftovers, but for us, it is a global battle to reduce food waste. So what others see as trivial, we see as essential. We want to create a better tomorrow by making the right decisions for our community and for our planet. So we've got like three core areas that I think is really embedded in our DNA and is really reflected in our everyday and sets us apart from that competition. There's corporate social responsibility. So our global CSR strategy outlines our commitment to create a better tomorrow by 2025. For example, we put a target to reduce food waste by 50% by 2025. We also work towards increasing our plant-based menu options to 33% by 2025. You know, since last year, many of our culinary professionals have taken the plant-based training in partnership with the Humane Society, HSI in Canada.
Hmm.
Finally, we've also committed to using more renewable energy. So, Sodexo joined the Climate Group's RE100 initiative. So, in line with our commitment to switch to 100% renewable energy. So, I'm super proud to say that in early 2021, we actually achieved this goal. So, we've transitioned to 100% renewable energy 4 years before our target and reducing our scope 2 emissions to zero. So this sort of gives you a flavor of our DNA of our corporate responsibility. Additionally to this, the second area revolves around DE&I. So in Canada, we work with over 400 diverse suppliers. We ranging from businesses owned by Indigenous people to people with disabilities to war veterans. And not only that, not only the external partnerships, but internally, we also have employee-based resource groups. For example, we've got ADEPT, which stands for All Disabled Employees Possess Talent. We've got our So Together Employee Research Group, which is to foster a a culture of gender balance. We've got a Pride Business Resource Group, which helps us and educates us and raises awareness for employees, our clients, anyone within the network on issues related to LGBTQ2S plus employees. And last but not least, and something very near and dear to me because I do serve as the executive sponsor for this, we've got the Cultural Diversity Group. And its mission is really to foster, to promote, and to encourage a corporate environment that embraces and values the cultural diversity of its employees of Sodexo. So we've really got some very core things in our DNA. Yeah, the last area to highlight is around our priority to give back to our communities. So Sodexo is proud to have created the Stop Hunger Foundation. It's an independent charitable organization, and we've raised over 3 million to fight hunger and to donate more than 1 million meals to at-risk youth across Canada. Our commitment at Stop Partner is strong as ever. Food insecurities continue to affect our communities, and we have to look at ways to raise money and raise awareness. And we truly engage our employees to get involved. We create a fun, we create a competitive physical activity that about 300 Sodexo employees partake in. And again, the goal is to raise funds and raise that awareness. And it's also worth noting, actually, that Sodexo matches every contribution from its employees.
You are the CFO for the company. So do you want to just give us a brief introduction to how you ended up joining the company?
Sure. Yeah, no problem. So I guess well, if you look at my professional career, it would appear logical to move over to this role. I've been in this industry for some time, so it looks logical to take this more expansive role, and move to a global and large organization. So I joined in 2021, and my first engagement with the organization wasn't necessarily around the specifics of the role that I currently have. The conversation was extremely authentic. It was really to get to know each other. It was to make sure that we truly understand each other's values and we truly understand our purposes. So, and it's these values and attributes that are key for, I would say, for any Sodexo employee, leadership or not. Not only values around Sodexo, but we spoke about personal values, we spoke about leadership attributes, how to role model the right behaviors within an organization. So it's these pillars that really drew me to this organization. I recall one of the draws around was, as I talked about the EBRG programs that Sodexo supports and around diversity. It's very personal for me because it's something as an executive who identifies as a person of color. These things play a big role. It's very critical.
Now, how would you kind of just describe your role as CFO? I mean, you're looking after all the financials of the organization. So, uh, are there certain things that take priority over others that sort of, I suppose, rule the way that you operate day to day?
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, I don't think there is a typical day to day in my
Okay.
world. I talked about the word value. So I truly strive to bring value, but also bring a unique approach to the business. And let me see if I could sort of chunk this out in a few areas. So first and foremost, there's that whole mindset or the growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. So a fixed
Mhm.
mindset is where qualities are fixed, therefore you cannot change. Much of your talent, intelligence are based on some sort of previous way or some sort of documentation rather than looking to improve yourself. So a large portion of my day to day, I'd say a large portion even of me, is how I progress on that growth mindset for this role. I don't necessarily have a playbook to reference to do my job. Yes, as you pointed out, as a CFO, I certainly have to understand the numbers. I certainly need to have respect over controls, over policies, over accounting practices. But beyond that, it really comes to my own efforts. It really comes to my own way of shaping my role and really the direction of the organization. So the second area, as I said, I'm going to try and chunk this out in three areas.
Okay.
The second area is around, and I think you hear this a lot in leadership forums as well as the marketplace, is around EQ. So working on a basis of empathy, working on a basis to connect with people, with teams. As a CFO, it's not to bark orders, but to connect with people. It's ask the right questions and to invest in your company, and ultimately with the goal to progress your organization. And the final area, and I truly think this is so critical to my day to day, is to remain fair and to remain balanced. The role is very high tempo. I'm in a very large organization, and I can easily get lost. So it's super critical to bring myself back to a level where I can see the big picture, both internally with the organization, but even amongst myself, right? I don't want to lose my own identity. So my role within the organization is to remain fair, to remain balanced and positive. But additionally, I need to ensure that I myself have outlets to remain fair, balanced, and authentic. So, this can be done through carving out time with my family. I've got many hobbies. I play hockey, in which I which
Very
I
good.
really enjoy to do. Like any true Canadian. But I'll even give you an example. At one point, just to find my balance. I even went back to a previous passion which was to play drums. And I
Right.
went back and I played drums and I actually formed a band. So it's important to remain authentic, to keep that balance within you, and consistently do these gut checks on an ongoing basis.
Okay. We're starting to wrap up. I was going to ask you about, what can be done to encourage things like innovation. But in the previous question, you referred to the word value a couple of times. So when we talk about those sorts of keywords like innovation and value, what do those mean to you in terms of driving outcomes in a company?
Well, first of all, we have amazing partnerships with our organizations. They truly push us, they truly inspire us, and help us make significant changes. One good example is our partnership with the Canadian branch of Humane Society. It's known as HSI up here in Canada. And we both have a common goal. It's to promote a more sustainable, healthier, and more humane food system. So we've taken the Forward Food Pledge with them, and we're committed to transitioning current menus to plant-based menus. So this commitment will make Canada's food service industry more compassionate, more sustainable, and more nutritious. So we also have innovation in the form of technology to better serve our clients. Coming this year, we've got AFI. It's a first checkout free convenient shopping experience right on one of our campuses in Canada. So if I could just summarize it in three key areas. First of all, it's contactless, so it's completely checkout free. It's got customer convenience, so it's grab and go 24/7. And the third piece is operational efficiencies, right? Where it provides analytics, ensuring there's optimal inventory mixes, ensuring that we can do any sort of deep dive in purchasing patterns and really understand our consumer behaviors. So innovation comes in various different forms. We certainly have key partnerships to drive the food service business, but we continue to look to progress this industry through innovation.
Okay. We're at the end of our chat today. So before we finish and break, is there anything that you haven't had a chance to address yet?
No. First of all, I want to thank you for the opportunity.
Of course.
Thank you to enable me to speak not only about myself but also for the company and the values that make up both myself and as well as the company. So it's certainly very appreciative to have a platform to be very authentic, and I really enjoyed this chat. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're more than welcome, and we look forward to speaking with your company again, Ahmad.
Excellent.
Thank you.
This has been a production of the Canadian Business Quarterly, a division of Romulus Rising Proprietary Limited. All rights reserved. You can stay up to date with the Canadian Business Quarterly, including our publications, newsletters, and podcasts by visiting www.thecbq.ca and clicking on subscribe.